Welcome to Analog IC Design class. This is your lecture number 8 on Unit 5, and in today's class we will we'll understand what second order filters are, basically active filters. If you look at the last class, lecture number 7, we started with second order filters. We looked at RLC realization. We have come to a general impedance structure where when you place components, we will get different types of response over there, right? In continuation with the, as we have a general structure for a passive filter, similarly, today we will study one specific architecture for active filter, and those are called as, so this structure is basically proposed by two people way back in 1955. Still it is popular as discrete filters. So today we look at second order active filters. And the structure what we are going to see today is proposed by someone called as E.L. Key and R.P. Salen, and for that reason we call these both of them are from MIT. So for that reason we call this filter as Salen and Key filter. So Salen and Key filter. So they proposed a basic structure where if you keep suitable components, you will get different types of response. So I'm not going to develop the architecture because that is available in the paper by Salen and Key. So I'm just presenting you the final structure of Salen and Key so that we can put components into that and make use of the architecture for different types of responses. So since it is mentioned as active filter, we'll be using an active block and the active block is nothing but an op-amp. So we'll have an op-amp as an active element, and so this op-amp is there, and we have impedances. So I'll be presenting in form of general impedances, and by putting specific components here, we can get different filter responses. So two impedances here in this form, in series form. So I'll call this as Z1 and this as Z2. Now from this node and from this node you have two more impedances. So from this node another impedance is there to ground, and from this node you have an impedance in the feedback path, and that is to this output point, and this is the output. Now the general structure what we have is we will configure this as a unity gain. So we will just connect output back to the negative input, right? Now you will ask the question why we are having a gain block and still we are using it as a unity gain structure. Definitely depending on how much passband gain we need, we can try out different ways of getting that gain. That also we will see in today's class. Are you guys with me? Can I get response from any one of you? By unmuting, can you just tell whether you guys are listening to me or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. This I'll call as Z3 and this I'll call it as Z4, and this is the Wien point, right? So this is the general architecture of a Salen-Key filter. So now for any filter, if you want to start, so you can actually have a uh, general transfer function for this. But since it is a little tedious to just keep Z1, Z2, you can do that. But I am just doing for a specific example. Okay. Now, before coming to this, if you ask me this question, why we need to have active filters? Because even in passive filters, there are places where we use only passive filters, and there are places we incorporate active filters also. So one such reason is when we go ahead with only for active filters, passive filters, for a low range of frequency, we may end up in having larger or bulky inductors if we have only passive filters. And there will be certain applications where if the filter is providing some gain, that will be useful, or that will help actually the rest of the system. So there are many cases like that. That is why we have a classification of active as well as passive filters, right? So depending on our need and depending on the application, we will prefer whether an active filter or a passive filter. Again, I'm not telling active filters are like always it will be an advantage. No, then there will be again limitations on the number of op amps what we can use, because when we have more number of op amps, that will also result in more power, that will also take more area, or it will take, definitely it will take more area when we have the number of op amps more. Even that will also result in the overall cost when you look at a system level, right? So this is your general structure. So you should understand there is the we normally configure in a unity gain mode with these four impedances, one Z3 on the feedback and the other impedances of this form. Now, if you want to realize a low pass filter, so if I want to realize a low pass filter, so I'll call it as Sallen and Key low pass filter. So if the low pass filter is what the filter of our interest, what we can do is substitute this Z1 and Z2 with resistance, and Z3 and Z4 you can substitute or you can put a capacitor. That will give you a low pass filter. So for a low pass filter, the way you have to put the components, or the component should be selected as resistive for Z1 and Z2 and a capacity for Z3 and Z4. So can I ask you to redraw the structure on your book by placing resistors for Z1, Z2 and capacitors for Z3 and Z4? Can you guys do that? I'll also be doing it. So if you can do, yeah, you can understand it now with me.
So will it be same resistance value or different?
And as of now, you can put it as R. And so when we take up a design problem, for that we can choose. So it can be equal values also. But again, depends on what kind of response we need and what is the requirement what we have. It is not mandatory that it should be equal. You can put it as R1 and R2 also. Does it answer?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Right. So now I'll be redrawing it. So we have the active gain block here. This is plus and this is minus. And yeah, now you can use a chat box because I got my internet connection back. So you can use a chat box and I'll be able to see if you have any comments in between. All right. So this is your op amp, and as I mentioned, there are two impedances here, two components here in series. Those two are resistors, Vin. I'll call this as R1 and this as R2. And from here you have another structure where you will have a capacitor which is connected to the output. And from this node also we have a capacitor that is connected to ground. So I'll call this as C1 and this as C2. And from here that is connected back to the output. Now this is my output node, which is Vout, right? So so I'll write here this as a Sallen and Key low pass filter. This is what we have. And so the aim is, the first thing what we will do is we'll try to get the transfer function of this, that is basically V out by V in. So you can apply, like you need to analyze and find what is the relationship between V out and V in. So let us do that first, and then we can see how I can introduce, or if we want a gain, a specific gain in the passband, how we can do that. Because as of now, it will, we can see that the op amp is not given, op amp is almost configured in a unity gain mode, right? So let us look at that in detail. So let me mark few points here. Let me call this point as X and this as node Y. Now, if I look at R2, the resistance R2, yes, the op amp is ideal also. I am considering, for the analysis, I am considering op amp as ideal. An ideal op amp. Yeah, so since that question has come up, since the op amp is ideal, we'll say that there is no current flowing into these terminals. There is no current. Into mark says that I think it will get confused with the X node what I have selected. So since there is an ideal op amp, there are no input currents flowing, right? So in that way, say if I want to find the current flowing through R2, since there is no current flowing to the plus terminal of the op amp, current flowing through R2 is same as the current flowing through the capacitor C2, right? So can I write in this way? Current flowing through R2, this current. So, so this current will be equal to the current flowing through C2, right? Now, since it is in negative feedback mode and this node is V out, this also will be at V out, virtual ground property. That means this node, the node X is also at V out. I can directly say the voltage at Vx is equal to voltage at V out by the property of virtual ground, right? Now, if that is the case, what is the current flowing through R2? Or what can I talk about the current flowing through? Since both are equal, can I say the current flowing through C2 as Vx divided by 1 by SC2, or this is nothing but Vx into SC2, which is equal to, since Vx is equal to V out, that is equal to V out into SC2. Can I say this is a current flowing through R2? Because the current flowing through C2 is Vx into SC2. So the same current should be flowing through R2 as well. Right. I hope this is clear. Now, if that is clear, can you write what is Vy? Because the ultimate aim is I need to get a relationship between V out and V in. That is why for intermediate points, we are trying to write certain equations and relating that with V in or V out. So how will I write Vy? Vy is basically the voltage from this node to X and from X to ground. So the voltage Vy can be written as the drop across R2. How to write the drop across R2? The current flowing through R2 is the current flowing through R2 is V out into S into C2. That is the current flowing through R2 multiplied by R2. So the drop across R2 is available. Plus, if I add V out, that is equal to Vy. Or I can write it as V out V out into 1 plus SR2 C2. This is Vy, right? Now, I have two intermediate variables, one is Vx and one is Vy, and both I wrote in terms of V out. So Vx is directly V out and Vy is V out into 1 plus SR2 C2. Now what I can do is, if I can write a KCL at this node by considering the three currents, I can directly get a relationship between V out and V in. Right, that is what I'm going to do now. So what I'll do is I'll just write KCL at node Y. I hope it is clear. If you have questions, please write in the chat. So how will I apply KCL at node Y? If you look at node Y, it is Vy minus V in divided by R1. That is actually the current which is flowing this side. Vy minus V in by R1. So the current flowing this side. Now the current flowing this side I know, and if I know this current, I can write that the sum of all the currents leaving the junction, leaving the node, is equal to 0. So Vy minus V in by R1 is leaving, or it is the current leaving the node. I am writing it as leaving the node. Plus, what is the current flowing through R2? It is V out into SC2. That is the current towards this side. Plus, the current leaving the node, the next current is basically Vy minus V out into S into C1. And this sum is equal to 0. Right. Now, it is clear that you can substitute the value of Vy into this and you can get a final expression for that. I will leave that to you. Can you guys quickly do and tell me how this proceeds? Let me take this to next page. So it is basically V out. So I am just writing what is Vy. V out into 1 plus SC2 R2 minus V in divided by R1 plus V out into S into C2 plus again Vy is V out into 1 plus SC2 R2 minus, that is Vy, right? Yeah, Vy minus again V out is there. So into V out, and this whole thing into S into C1 is equal to 0. Right. Is this clear? Can I get some response in the chat? Can I get some response in the chat? Is this clear what I have written? All right. Yeah. So I'm just continuing. So what you can do is you can take all V out terms on one side and V in terms on the other side, or whatever way you want, you can work it out. I'm just taking V out by R1 as a first term. Sorry, I'm just see all the V out are same. Somewhere I have written the small. It is okay. It is understandable that this is for a specific signal. So V out by R1 plus V out into SC2 R2 by R1 minus V in by R1 plus V out into S into C2 plus V out into S into C1, then plus V out into S square into C1 C2 R2 minus V out into SC1 is equal to 0. And this can help you to write the final equation of V out by V in. And if you write, you will get it as 1 by R1 divided by 1 by R1. And this, whatever I'm writing now is directly from the equation what we can see as the second equation. So 1 by R1 plus S into C2 into R2 by R1 plus S into C1 plus S square into C1 C2 R2 minus S into C1. You can check whether you are getting this equation or not. Now, even though I have just written it as V out by V in, it is actually a function of S because what we're writing is transfer function. So if I write, so whenever we write transfer function, we'll have specific forms to write. So if I take all the R1 also to the denominator, and you will see that one term can get cancelled because this is SC1 and this is minus SC1. Then you have remaining 1, 2, 3 and 4 terms. Did I miss any term here? I think 1 by R1 is from here. Yeah, so this 1 by R1 is basically from here. Then SC2 R2 by R1 is from here. Then SC1, yeah, I think I missed this SC2 term. So that also need to be added. SC2 from here, SC1 from here, S square C1 C2 R2 from here, and minus SC1. And for V in, you have only 1 by R1. That is how I have written this transfer function. Right. Now, if I bring R1 also to the denominator, and I think this will cancel. So I have 1 plus SC2 R2 plus SC2 R1 plus S square C1 C2 R1 R2. This is what we have as V out by V in. Right. Or this can be further written in this form, 1 divided by 1 plus. If I take S into C2 common from the first, second and third terms, you will get R1 plus R2 term here plus S square C1 C2 R1 R2. Right. So this is what the form, and here we can directly see that there is no gain term directly added because it is simply a 1. That is the contribution of op-amp here is actually as 1. But this form, if you want to compare with the general form what we have got before, that also we can do before we move to any designs. So I think you remember we had a second order generic function, right? Yeah, this form, omega naught square by S square plus this one. If I want to write the second order transfer function what we got now in this form, that also we can do. How will we do that? So V out of S divided by V in of S is equal to, I'll just take the coefficients R1, R2, C1, C2 from the denominator. So, and I'll bring it here, R1, R2, C1, C2. Then I'll get the denominator term S square because what I want is in the form of S square plus that form. So, my S square term is free now. Then you have S term And so with S you have C2 into R1 plus R2, but now I need to divide that with R1 R2 C1 C2, and plus you have one last term which is 1, so I need to divide it with R1 R2 C1 C2. Now what you are seeing on the screen as a last expression, let me just mark it in red. So this is of the form what we have seen before. What is the form here? Omega naught square divided by S square plus omega naught S by Q plus omega naught square. This is the form. That means from this expression you can definitely get the omega naught and Q from the of the circuit, right? So that also we will do. Let me compare this. If while comparing, I'll get to know that omega naught is equal to 1 by under root of R1 R2 C1 C2. And from the second expression, so omega naught square is directly this, that is why I wrote omega naught as 1 by root of this. And from the second, which is omega naught by Q, can be compared with the second term, and that is equal to C2 into R1 plus R2 divided by R1 R2 C1 C2. So if I bring in omega naught here, you will get the final expression for Q. You can just multiply it with omega naught here, and you will get the final expression as 1 by R1 plus R2 into under root of R1 R2 C1 divided by C2. So this will be helpful when you actually do designs, right? So are there any questions on this? So what we have done is I have shown you the general structure of a Sallen key, and we substituted the components, the resistive components as for Z1, Z2, and capacitors for C2, like Z3 and Z4, and then we obtain the transfer function of this, right? So any questions on this? Are there any questions, or is it clear?
Sir, from the transfer equation, how can we tell that it is a low pass filter?
From the transfer function, we will not be able to tell directly, because the transfer function what we have is of this form, right? 1 by R1 R2 C1 C2 divided by this form. So unless and until you are familiar with lot many transfer function, you will not be able to quickly say that okay, this is this filter, right? Familiarity only will help you to find that. Or like see, in the other cases you remember, I think even I asked a question for quiz also, where when you have simple filters, and when you have simple filter structures, you can directly see whether your capacitor is short at low frequency, high frequency, and through that you can directly comment on the response. You can understand the response basically. Is it clear?
Sir, in this particular analysis, how are we concluding that this is a low pass filter?
Okay, so one thing is we started from the low pass filter itself, right? So because it is based, see, we are actually taken, we are analyzing an existing architecture. So when you put resistors for Z1, Z2, and capacitors for Z3 and Z4, it will actually result in a low pass filter. So now, yeah, if you want to analyze, yeah, you asked a good question. So if you want to analyze this, what you can do is you can take this transfer function, you can write the magnitude of this transfer function, and you can give a plot. How we do for the other things, no, you can give a plot and you will understand. But generally for second order, so first order filters, it is actually easy to do that. But if you want to do for second order filters, no, you will actually get the complex poles, and then you have to analyze. So that analysis is actually a bit lengthy to arrive at the conclusion that this filter is a low pass filter or this filter is a high pass filter, right? Because the reason is because you have poles, and you have actually you may have coincident poles, and you will have you have to look at how they move in a pole zero plane. So practice is one thing, and the knowledge of like how you can configure various topologies, that is another thing.
Yes, sir, understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So now moving on. So what I will do is what I was telling is here the gain or the op amp is actually acting as a unity gain buffer. So what do you think if I want a specific passband gain, how I can modify the circuit? so that the circuit will contribute some gain to the op-amp will contribute, or the op-amp can be used as a block which will provide a gain more than 1. What do you think? What modification I can do? Any thoughts on that? Any thoughts? All right. So if you look at this, part, how I have configured is I have configured it as a unity gain buffer. That means I have directly shorted the output back to the minus input. Yes, yes, Akash. Yeah. So if you use proper resistors in the feedback path, that is in the negative feedback path, you can actually make it, or you can make it, or you can get some gain out of this. So how you will do that is, let me just copy the same circuit. Yeah. The same circuit, instead of having this path here, what I can do is I can add a resistance here and another resistance here, and just let me name this as, I have R1, R2, so I'll just name it as R3 and R4. So in that case, this is exactly like a non-inverting amplifier, or I can say that V out is equal to Vx into 1 plus R3 by R4. This is what the additional gain, because previously V out was equal to Vx, but now V out and Vx is related through this, or because I can say that Vx is equal to V out into R3 by R3 plus R4, or in this form we can write it. Is that clear? So if I bring this back to the previous analysis, I can write. So now V out is this. Now if I write the current through, there are some slight changes in the previous analysis what we have done. So now if I write the current through R2, if I write the current through R2, now Vx into SC2, that is equal to what is yeah, now if I write in terms of V out, because previously you can see that, how did I write? I wrote it as, yeah, previously Vx and V out were equal, but now Vx and V out is related through the resistance ratio. So I need to apply the same thing throughout the analysis, and I'll get the final expression. So now it is V out divided by 1 plus R3 by R4 into SC2. This is how I will write. And if I want to write Vy, so Vy is equal to V out into SC2 divided by 1 plus R3 by R4 into R2, right, plus V out, Vx, basically it is Vx, it is V out by 1 plus R3 by R4. So what I am doing now is same as, let me number this so that you can compare this equations. So this is equation number 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Same thing I have done here. So I am just marking it as 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Right. So if you continue to do this, maybe I'll write one more step here. Vy can be written as, I'll take V out common from this. So it is 1 plus SR2C2 divided by 1 plus R3 by R4. This is what you will get, the relation between Vy and V out. And this will, how it will directly contribute in the final expression is, in the numerator you will have a term. So what is that term? Now you can write V out by V in of S as, previously it was 1, but now it will change as 1 plus R3 by R4. You can have any value for R3 and R4. When I say any value, within whatever is possible, and you can get a specific passband gain. So the rest of the equations remain same. R1 C2 plus R2 C2. Let me check. Yes, the same expression. R1 R2 S square C2 plus R1. Yeah, I think there will be a small change that when you include this. So let me write it here. You can just cross verify that R1 C2 plus R2 C1 R2 C2 minus R1 C1 into R3 by R4 into S plus 1. This will be the expression, right? So the same analysis, if you redo, you will actually arrive at this, right? So this will be the the expression, the transfer function for the Salenki low pass filter with a specific passband gain what you want to have, right? So any questions on this? Are there any questions? No questions? All right. So yeah, so I'm just winding up for today now here, and I want to discuss certain things with you guys. Thank you.